Imagine two investors. One spends years chasing the hottest stocks, jumping from trend to trend, convinced the next big winner is just around the corner. The other quietly buys quality investments every month, whether the market is exciting or boring. 10 years later, one has a collection of stories. The other has wealth. Success works the same way. There was once an old martial arts instructor living in a quiet mountain village. One day, a young student asked him, "How long will it take me to become the greatest fighter in the country?" The instructor smiled. 10 years, the student frowned. "What if I train twice as hard? I'll practice every morning, every night, every spare minute I have." The instructor looked at him again. "Then 20 years, at first, the answer makes no sense. Shouldn't working harder make you faster?" Actually, no. Because the harder you're trying to rush the destination, the less attention you're giving to the process that actually gets you there. Most people don't fail because they lack ambition. They fail because they constantly interrupt their own progress. Think about your own life. Maybe you've wanted to start investing more seriously. Build a business. Lose weight. Read more. Learn a valuable skill. You don't have one goal. You probably have 20. And that's exactly the problem. Every Sunday night you design a new version of yourself. Monday you're waking up early. Tuesday you're meal prepping. Wednesday you're researching rental properties. Thursday you're learning AI. Friday you're exhausted. By the weekend you've convinced yourself you're just not disciplined enough. But discipline usually isn't the problem. Too many priorities create the same result as having none. Imagine trying to invest in 100 different businesses with only a few dollars. None of them ever become meaningful. Your attention works exactly the same way. Every new goal feels productive. Until you realize you're constantly starting over. The people who build wealth understand something most people miss. Compounding only works when you leave something alone long enough to grow. Money compounds. Skills compound. Relationships compound. Reputation compounds. Even confidence compounds. Every time you keep changing direction, you reset the clock. That's why so many people feel busy without actually getting anywhere. They're earning effort, instead of earning momentum. There's an old business principle that helped rebuild entire industries after World War II. Rather than chasing dramatic transformations, companies focused on improving one small process every single day. Over time, those tiny improvements stacked into extraordinary results. It's easy to dismiss small improvements because they don't feel exciting. Neither does putting $50 into an investment account. But nobody laughs at compound interest after 20 years. The same math applies to your habits. Small improvements don't stay small. They multiply. The problem is our brains aren't wired to appreciate compounding. We're wired for immediate rewards. That's why buying a new productivity app feels more satisfying than quietly repeating yesterday's habit. Novelty feels like progress. Consistency actually is progress. Researcher B.J. Fogg discovered something fascinating while studying behavior change. People think motivation creates action. But motivation is unpredictable. Behavior becomes reliable only when it's easy enough to repeat on your worst day. That's why giant plans almost always fail. They're built for your best mood, not your average Tuesday. Instead of asking, "What's the biggest change I can make?" ask, "What's the smallest action I can repeat for a year?" Those are very different questions. If your goal is fitness, don't promise yourself 90-minute workouts. Promise yourself you'll put on your running shoes. If your goal is investing, don't tell yourself you'll master the stock market this weekend. Spend 10 minutes learning one concept. If your goal is building a business, don't chase 12-hour workdays. Solve one customer problem. Small actions lower resistance. Lower resistance creates consistency. Consistency creates identity. That's the part most people miss. You're not building habits. You're building evidence. Every time you show up, you're casting another vote for the kind of person you're becoming. I am someone who exercises. I am someone who invests. I am someone who finishes what I start. Identity compounds even faster than results. Another powerful strategy is removing decisions. Attach your new habit to something that already happens every day. Coffee finishes brewing? Read one page. Finish dinner? Review your investments for 5 minutes. Sit down at your desk? Write one paragraph. The less your brain has to negotiate, the more likely you'll follow through. And don't underestimate tracking your progress. A simple calendar with an X each day creates something surprisingly powerful. You stop chasing perfection. You start protecting momentum. Eventually, your goal isn't to become successful. Your goal becomes not breaking today's promise to yourself. That's a much easier standard to live by. Of course, you'll miss days. Everyone does. Life gets messy. Kids get sick. Work gets overwhelming. Unexpected expenses happen. One bad day isn't failure. It's being human. The danger isn't missing ones. The danger is believing one missed day erased everything you've built. Think about investing again. If the market drops one day, smart investors don't sell everything. They stay invested. Treat your habits the same way. Your progress isn't determined by one mistake. It's determined by what you do next. Always return the following day. Not with extra effort. Not by punishing yourself. Just by continuing where you left off. Here's what the old instructor understood that the young student didn't. The student thought success belonged to whoever wanted it the most. The instructor knew success belongs to whoever stays in the game the longest. The biggest advantage in life isn't talent. It isn't intelligence. It isn't even hard work. It's staying consistent long enough for compounding to become visible. 5 years from now, time will have invested itself somewhere. The question isn't whether change will happen. The question is whether those years will compound into the person you hope to become, or simply disappear into another cycle of starting over. So today, don't chase a breakthrough. Make a deposit. One workout. One page. One investment. One conversation. One decision that your future self will thank you for. Because extraordinary lives aren't built through dramatic moments. They're built the same way fortunes are. One small investment at a time.